Sell more of your teacher resources and grow your teacher business using Pinterest. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you go about doing that. Whether you're a seasoned teacher and you've been selling and using Pinterest for years and maybe you need a refresh, or you're new and you have a new store, whether it's on Teachers Pay Teachers, Etsy, your own web store, whatever it is, we're going to chat about it today. Now, this video is created in partnership with Pinterest. Hello, my name is Heather Farris, and I have been running a Pinterest marketing agency and education company for 9 years. And in that time frame, I have helped quite a lot of teachers to not only get established on Pinterest, but to grow their teacher businesses on the platform. So I want you to go into this video understanding one thing. I don't want you to just pin. I want you to think about the end point and the goal that you have in mind for your products, your teacher resources, your blog posts, podcast episodes, YouTube videos, whatever it is that you have. And I want you to consider that destination as the place that we are going to convert and do our conversions. So if you feel like you are just pinning to pin and you're not actually sure about what you should be pinning, what the creative should look like, what your keyword strategy should be, what your board strategy should be, today's video is going to help you to iron out all of those little details. So let's just jump right into creating a Pinterest strategy for your teacher business. Welcome to Pinterest Marketing for Teachers. My name is Heather Farris and I've been doing this for 9 years, as I mentioned before. So I've been around the block and I have had a number of teacher sellers. So if you are looking to strategically get more traffic and sales into your TPT store, your blog, your web shop, this is what I see for teacher sellers. So first of all, we want to start off by defining your goal of using Pinterest. Do you want to grow your traffic and sales to your stores, whether they're hosted on TPT, Etsy, or your own website? Do you want to grow traffic to your blog posts? Do you want to grow your email list? Are you looking to get more views or listeners into a YouTube channel or podcast? Or are you just looking to build authority or awareness in your niche? All of the above are very honorable goals and they are achievable using Pinterest. Now, it can take some time. I do want to just say that starting off. But I think that if your goal is any one of these things, Pinterest is definitely a place for you. Now, a specific challenge for teacher sellers that I have identified by working with them over the years is balancing where to send your traffic. Now, a lot of teacher sellers are selling first on Teachers Pay Teachers, and that is their primary income source. I have worked in other spaces as well where Etsy sellers primarily sell on Etsy, but they also have Shopify stores, and they are looking to get traffic to both places. The same can be true for teachers, and I often see that be true for teachers. One of my previous clients actually had their own website, an Etsy store and a Teachers Pay Teachers store, and sold across all three places very well. Now, we only used Pinterest for her to sell her website products because we wanted all of the traffic to be owned. So this is a challenge for you as you define your Pinterest strategy, as you lay it out. Where are you going to send your traffic? Are you going to split sending your traffic to multiple platforms, or are you going to focus on one platform? What does that look like for you? Now, one of the challenges specifically for teachers is that they do have multiple platforms that they may be selling on, but you might also have long-form content as well as products that you sell on your own website, whether in a store or whether through funnels. So what I would do if I were you is determine A, where do you want your primary traffic source and sales source to go? And B, what are the URLs that are going to follow? Now, I would like to encourage you to actually send traffic to all of the places where you are doing your sales, because you never know when a teacher is going to find your TPT link and see all the reviews in your store and then convert. These internal, all-in-one sales platforms have a benefit over self-hosting and self-owning your own web stores, and those built-in sales systems are definitely one of them, and the reviews that back those up are definitely advantageous, to say the least. Okay, now that we have talked about the challenge for teachers, let's start with step 1, and that is developing your keyword plan. I want you to start your keyword plan by really diving into what your core pillars are in your business. Now, if you've watched any of my YouTube videos, you have heard me repeat this over and over the years. My main pillars in my business as a Pinterest marketing person, educator, are organic Pinterest marketing, paid Pinterest marketing, graphic design for Pinterest, and automation for Pinterest, so scheduling. Those are 4 pillars that I have in my business. I would write those down on a piece of paper, and then underneath those, you are going to start to write down the things that go with that pillar. So is it content? Is it products? What funnels do you have in there? Write those things down underneath those core pillars, and then this is actually going to kind of spiderweb out into your keyword plan. So if you can start with your really broad pillars, then build on those, this can actually help you jumpstart your progress. Now, a little reminder, I want you to use the same keywords that your buyers are using in your Pinterest strategy. So everywhere from your profile, so on your profile, it's going to be your main keywords, your display name, or it's going to be in your display name. You're also going to use main keywords in your about section or your Pinterest bio, your boards, so your board titles and your board descriptions, and then in your pins, so in your creative strategy with your Pinterest pins. So on your text overlay, if you're using one, in your pin title, in your pin description, those are all places that you can use keywords on Pinterest to be indexed and found by your ideal viewer or customer. So once you have your keyword plan in place, you can move on to your board strategy. So your board strategy is actually one of the most important things to me on Pinterest aside from your keyword strategy. Obviously, keyword strategy is number one. This is how your content actually gets indexed properly on the platform and how you get found in the long run. So when we are looking at keyword planning based on your offers and your content, you can really base this off those pillars we were just talking about and then go really wide. So those can be, this little mind map on the right can either be individual boards or sections within a board. So your board strategy can look something like this. So the main board is 5th grade science lessons and resources. And then you can have these 6 like anchor boards that come off of this main board, or these can be sections within the same board. So if you're a 5th grade teacher, chances are you're doing everything and anything as far as teaching, unless there's a specialty that your kids are going out of the classroom for, like art or music. Those are generally things that you're sending your kids to another classroom for. However, you're probably covering all of the basics. So English, you're probably doing reading, you're doing math, science, social studies, and probably even some PE, if I'm being honest, depending on the school that you're teaching within, especially if you're in North America, especially if you're in the United States. So you as a 5th grade teacher can do the same thing across all of the subjects that you cover, and then you could even add in some supplementary boards that are things like, that are more broad, like substitute teacher lesson plans, classroom management strategies, classroom decor, classroom library stuff, anything that helps support the overall topics that you actually are an expert on and that you create products on and that you sell. Those become boards, and then those boards house the pins or the content that you are going to link to. So be thinking about the board strategy from this angle. And if you need to pause the video and take a screenshot of this, you definitely can do that. Okay, this is a reminder that you do not need any third-party paid keyword research tools. You can simply just use Pinterest to find your keywords. Number 1 is the Pinterest search bar. Number 2 is the trends tool, which is the screenshot of what you're looking at right now. And number 3 is the ads manager. All 3 places are really solid for finding keywords for your Pinterest strategy and determining A, what your boards should be, and B, what your descriptions and keywords are going to go, what keywords are going to go into those descriptions. So don't feel pressured to pay for any flashy third-party keyword tools. You simply do not need it to get started. Okay, step number 3 is really what you should promote. So teachers, like I mentioned at the top of this screen sharing portion, have so many different links. So one of your challenges is balancing the links. So knowing that you probably have long form content, you're going to always include long form content in products, no matter what. Every single week, your pins are going to be a mix of both long form content that's free and products. I also want you to add in a third thing in there, which is email list opt-ins, because people are looking for quick resources. And if you have a specialty and you specialize in something really specific that you can help teachers with, then that can be a really good funnel entry point for a free offer to your email list. So you want to create pins, whether they're image pins or video pins, to TPT products, to Etsy, to your web shop, to any free resources that you might have on your website. I know free resource libraries are really popular and becoming popular again. Funnels, so any funnel offers that you have in your business that are going to take people to either courses or other paid products. And then obviously that long form content, this can be in the form of blog posts. It can be YouTube videos. You can take your YouTube videos and embed them in a blog post. It can be a podcast, your podcast player, or you can embed your podcast player into a blog post. That way you're owning all of the traffic that you're actually sending pins to. And then if you have any other repurposed content from other platforms, so let's say you create really bomb Instagram reels that do very well, that showcase your products, that help your audience solve problems and get excited about what you do, then bring those reels over to Instagram, turn them into Pinterest video pins, and then relink them back to the website. So if you have an Instagram reel promoting your free offer, then bring that reel over to Pinterest, change the call to action slightly, and then link it to the sales page or the landing page for that free offer. And that is essentially what you're going to promote. It's a whole lot, and there's still here a mix that you're going to need to balance. But I would say start with your most profitable sales channel, and then add in the website if your most profitable sales channel is not your website already. Okay, your creative strategy is going to follow the keyword plan. So we started with our boards and our keyword plan that went with the boards, and now we're going to take that same keyword plan and it's going to go and flow on down into your creative strategy. So we're going to use the keyword plan as well as our Pinterest trends to guide the SEO portion of this part. And you're going to do two things. You're going to make your own pins and link them to the most important places that are ROI driven for your business. And number two, you're going to repurpose that content we just mentioned from Instagram and elsewhere over to Pinterest. Now, it might be worth it to actually create an Instagram size cover inside of Canva that is more Pinterest friendly, that looks sort of like these pins here. You can even repurpose your templates to be that 1080 by 1920 size and create a cover image for your reels if you're not creating a cover image on the platform where you originated the content. So your creative strategy should be a mix of free content that is blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, free content for your email list, and it should also be a mix of paid content to either funnels or your product stores. Okay, I want to talk about scheduling strategically, and this is a common question that actually comes up inside of my Academy office hours, inside of conversations I have with people all the time. So a lot of times, older, more legacy creators on Pinterest create one pin per blog and then repin that one pin to about 15 different boards. Sometimes it's not that many boards, but what I want you to focus on going forward is really creating individual new pins for those blogs. So let's say this is one blog post here. Create 6 different pins or 7 different pins for that blog and schedule them out to the different various boards. So if we go back a couple of steps and you see these different boards, so let's say you have one really meaty blog post that has different resources for different areas of, a science curriculum. So let's say it's a 5th grade science curriculum, like everything that you would need as a 5th grade science teacher. Obviously, it's not going to be everything that you need, but in the blog post, you cover resources that you have in your shop for each of these areas. What you could do is you could create a pin that is more general, and then you would create a pin for each section in the blog post or each area of product that you sell. And then you would send those to those various boards that are a fit. So obviously earth science and I don't know, physics are going to be two different topics within the blog post, but they're not going to go on the same exact board unless it is that more general 5th grade science and resources board. So you would create 2 pins for that one blog post, targeting 2 different distinct areas of the blog post, and then they would go on 2 different distinct boards. So the physics pin would go on the physics board, and the weather pin would go on the weather board, for example. And then you could have another one that's more general, that's like the best science resources. That one goes on the main general board, 5th grade science and resources. So I really want you to focus on using that keyword plan to make your own pins for each piece of content, for each area of your funnel, for each product that you sell. And then if you do have content to repurpose that you can give new life to on Pinterest, bring that over and let's bring new life into it. Pinterest Scheduler on their platform is free and easy to use. You can schedule and save drafts for up to 30 days in advance. And I would advise you to schedule and your pins in a spaced out manner to avoid spamming. So I wouldn't pin all of these pins to the same exact URL in a 24-hour period. I would pin them over 6 or 7 weeks. And then you're going to bring in other URLs behind it, and you're going to fill in each day of the week with a new focused URL, and you're going to spread these out over weeks instead of sandwiching them all together inside of a very short time frame. Okay, here is an example of what this would look like if you were promoting a content pin and a product pin. So obviously this would be a product pin. This is something you sell. Let's say it's STEM worksheets or science challenges. And then you have a piece of content that promotes this thing. So you can create the pin for the shop listing, and you can create a pin for the blog post that goes with it. And then the board for both of those could easily be science assessments and review, but you could also do, 5th grade science for this one and science worksheets for this one. Okay, here's another example, and this is where I really talk about spacing out the URLs. So I already mentioned this, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but again, we have a content pin and we have a funnel pin, and these 2 things could be linked, or they could be totally different. They could even be different URLs, but we really want to space them out. So if this is the same URL, so if these are 2 different pins, the same URL, I don't want you to pin them both in the same day, and I don't want you really to pin them both in the same week, although you can, and it doesn't hurt you to do that. But if you have a lot of content like I do, or if you have a lot of products like I do, I would rather bring in more content and more products. That way we can reach more people and we can target more keywords. We can basically spread our net a lot wider. But we're not going to pin the same exact URL back to back to back to back. We're going to space those out a little bit more than what we're accustomed to. Okay, here are a few things for you to remember. I want you to prioritize Pinterest trends and seasonality starting at a minimum of 90 days in advance. I want you to pin your products, your funnel URLs, your free long-form content daily. So there should be a mix every single day between product pins, funnel URLs, email list landing pages, and free content. Something that I did not include is pin productivity. What does that mean? That's basically how many pins you're pinning per day. I would say a minimum of 3 pins per day these days is a really solid place to start. However, if you can only do 1, then do 1. I would rather you do 1 than none. However, the more pins that you can pin per day, the faster we are seeing growth on the platform for our clients and students. Okay, the next thing is I want you to pay attention to impressions, saves, outbound clicks, and engagement rate. Those are the 4 analytics kind of things that I want you to pay attention to. I do have a video about analytics and what to do with your data, and I will link that video in the description down below if you want to check that out and look into analytics on Pinterest a bit further. But these are the 4 things that I think are the most important to pay attention to on Pinterest. And then one thing that I didn't include in the analytics section here is your top boards and your top pins. You always want to save those and pay attention to those as well, because after 6 months, you don't see your data anymore.
gets deprecated. And then the last thing is to use your favorite Pinterest scheduler and get ahead on pinning. This could be Tailwind, it could be Buffer, it could be Planoly, it could be Pinterest itself. But I want you to use this scheduler to actually get ahead and not worry about pinning in the moment or from your blogs or from your store or whatever. Make the pins in Canva, pin them using a scheduler, and then move on to the next set of URLs. Okay, so to continue your Pinterest journey, I have a blog, I have obviously this YouTube channel, or you can join us inside of Pin Profit Academy for that hands-on learning.
If you'd like to learn more about how to get your business, specifically your teaching resources and your teacher blog or your teacher shop in front of your ideal audience, join us in Pin Profit Academy where you can get more hands-on learning. Otherwise, head on over and watch these videos to continue your Pinterest marketing education.